The problem with hiring as it relates to race in the NFL is not the Rooney Rule. The problem is not that the Rooney Rule is ineffective. That would be like saying that the problem with cancer is that you can't fix it with an aspirin. That is not about the limitations of aspirin. That's about the problem with cancer. And the NFL has a cancer of racism when it comes to hiring people at these levels. The problem in this case is the white people who do, or more accurately, do not do some of this hiring. The issue there is them. The issue is the owners. It's all these people on top. They are the problem. I don't think that we could ever truly have any measure of solution on this until we are more honest about who the issue is. The issue is the people who ultimately decided to enact a Rooney Rule just because Johnny Cochran, rest in peace, was about to sue them into the ground. When it comes to progress in the presence of racism, it is not me and my people who need to make progress. It is white people that need to make progress. It is not us who created these circumstances. It is them who created these circumstances, and they are the ones that need to do better. And as I say every year about this, the biggest winner from the Rooney Rule and breaking down those barriers of racism would be the white people.
10 head coaches were hired in this cycle. None were Black Americans. How's that happen? Because the majority of the coaches that are hired are offensive coordinators. But the majority of offensive coordinators are former quarterbacks. And until you get those Black quarterbacks that retire and become Black OCs, then they will become the head coaches. Of the 21 offensive coordinator vacancies that are about to be filled, only 2 are Black coaches. One is Eric Bieniemy. The other is Mike McDaniel. Meanwhile, Zach Robinson, former quarterback, white dude. Tommy Rees, former quarterback, white dude. David Blough, former quarterback, white dude. Sean Mannion, former quarterback, white dude. So the pipeline to becoming a head coach in the National Football League is an offensive coordinator. The pipeline to becoming an offensive coordinator is typically a former quarterback. And we just now have a Black quarterback pipeline. So when people try to say there are systemic issues both in society or systemic issues in the NFL, these are the systems we're talking about. You're going to see a lack of minority coaches because you have a lack of minority offensive coordinators, because you have a lack of minority quarterbacks.
So you mean to tell me it was 10 head coaching openings in the NFL this year, just this offseason, and not one Black person got hired? And there's only like 3 fucking head coaches that's Black in the NFL? Man, what the fuck is we doing, bro? This shit going too far now. Man, what the fuck is we doing, bro?
So it's a huge thing that's going around, man. It's starting to pick up steam that no Black coaches was hired this go around. Off the top of my head, if I can remember, Cleveland was open, Atlanta was open, the Giants was open, the Raiders was an opening. Excuse me. I think it was 4 because the Lions didn't have an opening, the Bears didn't have an opening, the Packers didn't have an opening, the Vikings, there was some controversy there. Check out my Detroit channel, Mercy Sports Talk. I talked about, I had a couple of videos coming, one already up about their GM situation. The Panthers didn't have an opening. The Bucks didn't have an opening. They retained Todd Bowles. Shout out to him. I like Todd Bowles. The Saints didn't have an opening. They kept Kellen Moore. He was the backup quarterback in Detroit. I remember him. The Falcons, they had an opening. Cowboys didn't. Eagles didn't. The Eagles didn't. The Commanders didn't. I feel like there's one more team in there. The Giants did. That's 2. Arizona had an opening. Damn, who took the Arizona job? I don't remember who took the Arizona job, but they had an opening. But obviously, they wasn't Black. So the Rams didn't have an opening. The Seahawks didn't have, obviously, they're in the Super Bowl. They better not have a freaking opening. And the 49ers didn't have an opening. Then Cleveland, that's 4. They had an opening. Baltimore went to Jesse Minter. He was, with Harbaugh. That's 5. So that was an opening in Baltimore. Cleveland, Cincinnati didn't have one. Pittsburgh, that's 6. They had an opening. They went with Mike McCarthy. Then you go, Houston didn't have one. Shout out to D'Amico Ryans. The Jaguars didn't have one. The Colts didn't have one. The Titans did. Rob Salah got it. That was he's from Dearborn, Michigan. I think he's of Middle Eastern descent. The Bills had one, so that's 8. The Dolphins had one. I don't know who were replacing Mike. Oh, the Packers DC. That's 9. The Jets didn't have one. Shout out to Aaron Glenn. He was in Detroit. He was a good corner in the league. Played for the Jets. A lot of people wanted him fired, but it's the Jets. It's gonna take some time. New England, obviously they're in the Super Bowl. Then you go Kansas City. The Raiders make 10. The Broncos, obviously they was close. Had their quarterback, they've probably been there. The Patriots, I said kept them. So Chargers kept old buddy Harbaugh and I said the Raiders. It's 10 or 11 openings. If I didn't say the Raiders, it was 10 or 11 openings. I mean that's I think it's 32 teams. So 10 or 11 openings and not a black coach got a head coaching job. I mean, what y'all gonna do about it? That's all I want to know. What you want to do about it? We keep complaining about stuff. You got people, Chris Brown should have been in the Super Bowl. He should be doing that. Gilly should be doing the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, what you gonna do about it? We do this all the time. We turn the camera on. We voice our opinion. What we gonna do? Y'all boycotted and came right back as soon as they put Mary J. Blige and Dr. Dre on stage. What are we gonna do about it? Like I said, if the players don't fight for themselves, they end up letting them put a 17th game in. Rumors is an 18th game coming. They don't fight for their money. They don't fight for their bread. They don't stand up for our brother. Look what happened with Kaepernick, and they don't stand up for each other. So, what does it matter? People still gonna watch. What does it matter? What does it matter? We still having these same superficial conversations, with no solution. What's the solution? Boycott, not gonna work. Players, not gonna stand up for each other. What's the solution? Not gonna start your own league. So we complaining about something that can't be fixed. That ain't gonna be fixed. Y'all not willing to make the sacrifices for that to happen. So we complaining about, he didn't get opportunity. Yeah, it was 10 or 11 openings. That was enough to fill over 2.5 divisions of football, divisions. You didn't do it. Why? And in the process, Mike Tomlin walked away. Raheem Morris, he got fired. You know what I'm saying? And those are just 2 black coaches I could think of. And I remember it was a quote that somebody said about the black coaches and stuff, and about black people taking over the quarterback position and taking over the front office. And he said, if we give it to y'all, what else do we have? You have it right then and there. That's the quote. If they give it to us and they give us the opportunities to do those things, what else do they have? What else do they have other than offensive linemen, defensive, So I told y'all, man, a lot of that bigotry and racism is just, for the most part, it's admiration. It's admiration, man. That's why we telling y'all, when you're on them jobs as a black man, bro, the experience is totally different for anybody else. They want you to do jobs that's, they fucked up already, or that's impossible jobs. And then once you do it, they don't want to give you the credit for what you did. They don't want to, pay you like you did it. It's just like, okay, you did what you're supposed to do. You don't get the admiration. You don't get the raises. It's hard for them to do that. It's hard for them to give the recognition that you deserve in front of people. When they give you your recognition, they give it to you on the low. So what are we talking about? So until we come up with a real solution to this, man, I'm tired of talking about it. We point out something y'all point out every once in a while. They throw you a bone or two, and it is what it is. So y'all ain't gonna ready to do nothing. Y'all ain't ready to defend nothing. Y'all ain't ready to build nothing. Y'all ain't ready to even let the non-black stop saying the N-words. Y'all ain't ready to stop feeling bad for Hector and Maria and all them going, getting deported. You ain't willing to feel bad for nobody. Y'all willing to feel bad for everybody else, but y'all ain't willing to be, y'all ain't willing to take action for y'all people. Y'all willing to fight next to Hector. Y'all willing to fight with Becky and Brad. Y'all willing to fight with Pray for France. Y'all willing to, the women in Albania be all willing to fight with everybody else but your people. So let me know when y'all ready to fight, man. Hit the link description, the link tree. It's first link there. Find me everywhere there. Join the Patreon. Check out the NFL playlist. Peace.
Hey, I remember talking in your office back in 2019, and you had said that the league is always going to look at different things about hiring. Well, since then, you guys have expanded the Rooney Rule. You have you put in a mandate to try to address the offensive side of the ball with the coaching fellowship program. And you also put candidates in front of the decision makers. But everybody knows that this cycle is 0 for 10 for black coaches, 1 for 9 for coaches of color. So should you just be resigned to the fact now that basically nothing you do can move the numbers between 3 to 7 on coaches and 3 to 7 on general managers, those historic numbers that we've seen?
You know me too well to say I'm resigned to something where I think we need to continue to make progress, and I believe that. I believe diversity is good for us. I think we have become a more diverse league across every platform, including coaching, but we still have more work to do. There's got to be more steps. So we're reevaluating everything we're doing, including our accelerated program, including every aspect of our policies and our programs, to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow rather than yesterday. So we need to be looking at that and sort of say, okay, why did we have the results this year? What is it that we can be doing in training or education, and that goes for not just the candidates, but also the clubs.